Okay, good morning in my part of the world. Can you please type if you can hear me and if you can see me with my new hairstyle? So while we are waiting, I want to ask how many of you are familiar with Kabbalah, with anything apart that Madonna is popularizing Kabbalah? Do you know anything about it? Well, okay, nothing is great. This is like the best place to be. You are empty and then you are ready to receive it all. So I've been studying it for a while and I've been drawn to that since I think my teenage, but I've been always like thinking, yeah, it sounds something interesting. I feel I want to start reading, but constantly delaying it, not for just the reason I think I was just not ready. And then yoga actually came first to my life, and then I started exploring that. So let's start slowly, and Joanna will catch up now, or she can watch the recording. So I'm gonna share now with you my presentation. Okay, so Kabbalah is an ancient science. It's not a philosophy, it's not a esoteric teaching. It's a science that teaches people about relationship between the lower soul, which is us, and the higher soul, which is the creator. So who is creator, how the world was created, why it was created this way, and all these events that happen before the Big Bang. And this is amazing thing about Kabbalah. So in science, we have an understanding what happened during the Big Bang. Kabbalah says that there is events that happened before the Big Bang, and it translates and elaborates everything. Why do we actually need to go so far into the past? Not the past, it's the seed of the time, the beginning of the beginning. Well, because Kabbalah says that those events that happened in that moment, well, it's not the moment of time as we perceive. On that level, there was no time, no space. But those events are happening, reoccurring every single second, all the time throughout life until now, and it will always evolve like that. So when you are able to understand what happened there, why it happened, what were the roles of feminine and masculine and creator, and that cosmic orgasm, the Big Bang, right? And the conception of the universe and everything, you are actually able to understand your life, how things are moving and elaborating and happening, what is born, what is dying. So it really helps you to navigate through life. So what do I mean by lost? First of all, lost in translation. Kabbalah is teaching that expresses itself through Aramaic or Hebrew. So such languages as Hebrew, Sanskrit, and also part of Chinese, like Taoist Chinese, is called the language of roots and branches. So what does it mean? It means that one word, as you see in this tree. So if you take like that, like little, the smallest at the end, which is inside of the earth, unseen, the root, right? And let's say this is word. So it's word apple. So when you take that word, it has around 10 different meanings. So now we are talking about specifically Kabbalah. In the choice that you make, how you want to use that word, how you want to express, you're going to put in that sentence. But then look, when you are revealing your sentence to people and they hear, it means that they can perceive in 10 ways. So when certain thing was passed through teachings, through verbal teaching, because there was not much of writing, there was big scripts, the central books in Kabbalah, but many of them were passed through mouth to mouth. So it means that the translation was lost, and people started interpreting this knowledge according to their level of consciousness and according to their desires. So I can give you an example. How do we understand Eve? And we have Eva here. It's amazing. So Eve, we know that Eve was created from Adam's rib, the word rib. So the word rib has few different translations. And this created a whole drama that we are minor to man and that we were taken out of his body. And that's why he is our master, which is total bullshit. So word rib also in Hebrew means next or aside. So actually, instead of word rib, we would say that Eve was created next to Adam. So the rib is side, it's a side bone, right? So that's where it means that she was next to him, not behind, not from beneath, not under, not from his body, but as an equal human being, a little bit different with her own roles and functions, but side to side. So how did this information create so much drama in our life? When we think of Kabbalah, there are certain things that we use in life, which are numbers, letters, and words. And not many know that actually there is a kind of dispute whether Greek language was first or Jewish Aramaic language was first. And this answers that Aramaic was, it actually is the base of all the languages in the world, because the numbers and letters are not just what we think they are, to talk and to count money or to count something. So numbers and letters are codes, and each code has power. So it's a spell. So when you are taking certain numbers and letters in Kabbalah and put them together, and you create your prayer, you are able to manifest certain things. Now, many of you are like thinking now maybe, oh, wow, this is cool. I'm going to use that. So the thing is that it doesn't work for everybody. First of all, it depends of what kind of person is using that and what kind of development in your consciousness and spirituality you have. So it's a very, very long process of getting there. First, you are like a virgin. You are just learning the seeds of it, and then one day it will start revealing to you. But what I want to say is that numbers and letters were the tools of creator to create this world. So in other words, that there was nothing, complete void and emptiness, and creator I would say use the magic and the power to make these numbers and letters and put them in that way or that way. So they start creating this world and upper world, middle world, and lower world. So it means that when we read any script and there are certain words and numbers, that one line reveals a whole story. And the way you will perceive that story and the way I will perceive that story is totally different. Now tell me, where is the truth? The thing is that nothing is absolutely true in this world. You cannot prove anything, and in fact, nothing is proved. We only understand the world through that reality which we received from our parents. Like, this is table, this is woman, this is man, this is relationship, this is marriage, and blah 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 blah, this is menstruation. So we are fed by that, but it doesn't mean that that's it, that's the limit, that you are not allowed. So hidden from a woman. At certain time, when Kabbalah was very, very active in Spain, throughout Europe, not only in Israel, in the whole Middle East, in Palestine, it was a lot, very much present. In those times, mainly men are the disciples and the teachers. So first of all, a man who would reach 40, only then he could actually go and study the depth of the mystery. Before they would study Torah from childhood, of course. So from childhood, everybody goes to synagogue, but there is a certain limit, like a line, which children, some men, and most of the women are not crossing, which is the mystical part of Kabbalah. So it was believed that it's not for woman. Her place is different. She needs to be home. She needs to be taking care of the family. And this has pluses and minuses. Because we will understand further what was the commandments for woman. So, but the thing is that there was a true belief where it said that woman is actually the center of the house, and everything that holds in that house actually is on her shoulders. But the thing is, there was a negative belief of that woman is too weak, or she is too emotional, or she is too sensitive. She is not just going to do that because she also is responsible for bringing the first sin into the world, which we know, the eating the fruit in the Garden of Eden. So this is not fully, not truth, but not fully the real picture. So it's interesting that at some point it was woman who said, enough is enough. She said that from this moment we need to reveal Kabbalah to everybody, to all women. And when she, that was Karen Berg, she is now very old, and that was like 1930s, 1940s, when she approached her teacher, her husband, and she was young and rebellious, and she said, why don't you just open this knowledge to everybody? And he was like, this is something new and a little bit nonsense, because this is not how things are from the beginning. So he was a little bit hesitant, but thanks to her and to her love and support to her husband, that knowledge started just banging and booming. And this is where Madonna and other celebrities went to study that, and it became very popular. In a way, trendy, I would say, but it's a good thing because now everything is opened. But at the same time, throughout history, there were many matriarchs who were standing behind their men and holding that space and ground for men to achieve what they achieved, because men cannot do that without women. So now let's jump to the verse. And I'm going to read it. So this is the words of Creator, and he is addressing to human. And he says, to save you from a strange woman, from a foreign one who makes her words smooth, who deserts the Lord of her youth and forgets the covenant of her God. For her house sinks to death, and her paths lead to the dead. None who go to her return, neither do they achieve the ways of life. So if we will take this literally, how majority of humanity reads all the scripts, we will think that there is a strange woman, she is a foreigner, she somehow plays with her words, she forgets covenants of God. Oh my God, this is a big sin, sounds like that here. And she sings her house to death. It's very dangerous, woman. Her paths lead to death, and if you go after her, you will never return. So like, don't even approach that woman. Be very aware. So what does it mean? We will go line by line. Now we will take the first line: to save you from a strange woman, from a foreign one who makes her words smooth. To save you, what does it mean? It's a warning to a man, but what kind of warning? So what do we know about classic standard relationship between man and woman? And one thing to state here, very important, is that I'm not a feminist. Like, I'm not against men. I'm actually for men, and I believe that this or any feminine work is there because we want to help them to come back from darkness to the light. So this is our purpose on earth. So how do we do it? We know that in classical traditional relationship, man is primary and woman somehow is secondary. Even she is ruling, even if her word will be the last, somehow she depends on him. So a man is, I will just speak the way it is, okay, straightforward. Man is more controlling the freedom of a woman. So if woman wants to, for example, spend a big amount of money, or she wants just to pack and go to, I don't know, India for 3 months, she always needs to come and communicate. Of course, if man does the same, he also needs to communicate. But it's a different type of communication. You know what I mean? It's like a woman in a way asking permission, and man, when he is informing, he is just informing, this is the way it is and this is what I'm going to do. Yeah, you feel upset, but I need to do that. Of course, there are different details to every situation where they fight or agree and etc. But here it means that a man who will give freedom to a woman will be saved himself. So God says, to save you, you need to release a woman. Let her be whatever she wants, 100% freedom. It's not because you even not owe her. It's not even because you own her or you are her master. You are not, because she was not made out of you. She was made next to you. So give her that freedom, because she is different and she has her own understanding. So strange woman is somebody who is different. And what do we know about difference? When you are different. So for example, I shaved my head. Now I am different, first from my old Aliyah, like I've been with hair all my life. And now suddenly I'm this. I'm different. The way people perceive me is also different. Their reactions are so different. Whenever there is something different that not the way we are used to perceive, we have tendency to lose understanding. And there is a question, why? Why are you like this? So for example, your family, when you start stepping aside from a traditional opinion, traditional way, they would ask why you are doing this. Why don't you go and do something that is more familiar to us? Or in other words, why don't you be like me? Why don't you follow me? Why don't you follow my way? I try this way and I have the knowledge, experience, and you should trust me. Or in other words, obey and just submit. So here again, the God is saying, leave her alone, save her from your control, and you will be saved. So because she is a foreign. So who is a foreigner? It's somebody who is coming from a different land. We can say she's a refugee, right? So how do we perceive? Of course, we want to help all the refugees in the world, what's happening today. But you know, the truth is when refugees invade the country, the native people, at some point, they feel like, oh my God, like it's too much. Can you go back? We wish you can go back to your land because this is our land. So there is constant border where this is mine and this is yours. You are coming from there and you are different and you are foreigner. Now, in ancient times, when there were tribes, it was very important to marry a man who is of the same class or higher, or from the same belief system. It means from the same land. If a girl comes and says, I'm gonna marry a guy from our enemy land, what? This is a betrayal. You are shaming all our family and blah, 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 and all of the stories. So right here, God is not accusing woman, saying that you are strange and you are foreign. No, he is actually stating that you are different and you were designed from different lands, because it's not saying from a strange woman who is blah, 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 who makes her words smooth. Now it's interesting to state that woman has special relationship and purpose through her speech, with her tongue. And the word tongue in ancient scripts like Zohar or Book of Creation, all these Kabbalistic books, it has a big, big thing. So when the creator was creating this universe, these words and numbers were said. It's like a spell. You would say the word and then something happens. So woman is a creatrix. She is creating life, and also just like a smaller copy of the creator, she also has special relationship with words and communication. Now, what do we know about speech of a woman today? Woman has such chaotic and variety of relationship with her speech. First of all, she can be suppressed in her speech, in her voice. She can be very lost in her speech. So, for example, you know that we can talk so much with our girlfriends, sit and it's just like chit chat all day, but we don't say anything valuable. For me, it's a waste of time. So then another thing is that she can talk so much, but she doesn't allow herself to talk the truth. So the main ideas she suppresses, or she is being suppressed. So there is a lot of things. And then we women, we love to gossip. Whether you like it or not, the gossiping belongs to women. Men also do, but in a different way. Now, what means to make her words smooth? To smooth out something, it means to bring peace. So smooth, soothing. Her speech is meant to be soothing. And when she brings things smooth, when when you look into the nature and everything is growing and has different heights, you cannot see what is beyond that. And when you smooth things out, you reveal what is there, so you can see what is there. So she is supposed to talk in the way that she reveals information. What kind of information she is supposed to reveal? The goodness of Creator, not the evil, right? So for that, she is on a cellular level, woman knows how to talk with patience, peace, and gratitude. Now, when somebody will tell you, can you please speak in peace and patience and be grateful? This can also feel as they are trying to suppress you and just giving you orders. So this is very interesting to understand and important, that this is not somebody dictating you to be patient, peaceful, and grateful. It is coming from inside. So from here to there, not from outside world to here as be this or be that. How can you be that? Because you know how to be that. The thing is, because woman is by nature a mother, even if you don't have children, or even if you chose not to be mother ever, you still know what is that. Creation, the nature had embedded in you special qualities that will allow you to address the needs of your child. So imagine that you have a toddler who is 1.5 and cannot speak yet, and throwing tantrums and go into hysteria and like just something dramatic situation. So you, in just few minutes, you will be able to address that. And what does it mean? If man would do that, he will lose patience, he will go crazy, he will start calling, he will start feeling fear. And this is the nature of man, because they are not embedded those qualities. You also, you feel nervous and whatever, but you will somehow not suppress. These things will step back on the background, and you will come out with your nurturing abilities to smooth things out and to bring that child back into comfort zone. And this is what we do through right hemisphere to the child right hemisphere, because this is non-verbal, non-logical, non-informational. It's emotional, more spiritual, and unconscious, subconscious communication, where you start, it's not just the words that you are saying. So here, aside from physical words, for example, those words that I'm saying, there is another information coming from me. So there is revealed words that you can hear, or I would call them tangible words, and there is unconscious or subconscious information that you are just perceiving. Perhaps you can feel that even in silence. If we will sit together for, let's say, 30 minutes, gaze at each other, and just be quiet, there will be some kind of communication. So women can do that. So in order to wrap this part, I will tell you again that God is saving woman from a man, and if woman is saved, he will be saved. He will only benefit from that, because she is very special. She is different. She is made from different land, and she has her own understanding of how things are. And she has embedded qualities of patience, peace, and gratitude. And that's why during wars, women they were volunteering to be nurses. And nurses, most of the time, cured people not just by medical thing, they were just present, holding hand, and mothering that poor soldier who just went through like a shock of bombing or seeing dead bodies. And it is believed, it's not actually believed, this is a scientific research, that women, when there was a war or a violence, women would gather together and create this balance, the scale of peace, very, very slowly recreating the peace. Now let's go to the second one. So woman who deserts the Lord of her youth and forgets the covenant of her God. Now this is very strong verse, right? If I would not study this, I would think like, oh my God, why am I a woman? Can I be a man, please? So what does it mean? Woman who deserts, deserts or deserts, I'm not sure how it said correctly. So the Lord of her youth. Can you see that the Lord here is written from a small letter? So who is the Lord of her youth? It's the parents. It's the parents. So when we are born, we are 100% dependent on our parents. In that way, parents are playing the role of God in our childhood. We look up to them from below up high. We think like, oh my God, my mother, she's amazing. My father, he's so big. He has such big shoulders. He can lift me up, and they can heal all my troubles. And I just feel so comfortable. So they kind of embrace you in that atmosphere, and you feel that this is your world, and these are two images of these two people who are the creators for you. So what does it mean? Deserts the Lord of her youth. It means that the creator is saying that at some point in your life, you are allowed to leave your parents. Now, leaving your parents, separating, doesn't mean like, okay, at 7 years old, you're like, you know what? I feel like I don't need you anymore. You cannot control my life. Goodbye, I'm going to live on my own. No, it doesn't mean that, of course. It means you can live with them as long as you want. It's not about physical presence. It's about belief system and creating your own way of seeing things in life. So you are allowed to question everything that you were past. So every culture, every family has its own belief system. So for example, in our family, this is good and this is bad. So you grow up just believing that without any questions. You are just obeying to that 100%. And then as you are maturing and eventually leave the house and start living separately, working, earning, you are also creating your own belief, but they are not created from scratch, from a virgin ground. They are created on top. So I can say that the beliefs of your parents, that information that you got imprinted, transformed into something which you now judge as your own. So many times I can tell you, for example, we have that inner critic voice inside of our head who is constantly saying, this is not enough. It's not good enough. I cannot do that. I don't know what is the way. I'm lost. I'm not sure I can succeed. I cannot do this alone. I cannot ask help. Blah, 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 blah. Like hundreds and thousands of different negative, sabotaging voices. So these voices are not truly yours. They are not your nature. You took them from your childhood. And this is how they sounded in the childhood. Eat your veggies. If you're not eating your veggies, you're not going to be healthy. You need to go to sleep early, because if you don't sleep early, the blah, 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 blah. So there is constant, as we were raised, there is constant, how to say, misusing and manipulation of the information to make you do something. And like, oh, if you're gonna study and finish this term with good marks, we're gonna go to holidays, or you will receive a candy or a Christmas present. So constantly there is a candy waiting for you there, and you are compromising some small bits of yourself, which in that time they don't feel like this is very important. You're not gonna stand there and say like, no, mom, this is very essential for me to stand up for my voice and blah. You're not even aware of that. You are just like a puppy, like just, you know, like literally puppy and kittens. You want to train them, give them food, something they want, something they look up for. So this is how we were raised. So I really love my parents. I'm really grateful. And the thing is, they didn't know the other way. And also me as a mother, believe me, first years when I was raising my child, this is how I was raising my child. And it's terrible. So then it means that at some point, if you will start question what your parents taught you, and most of all, if you will verbalize it, you will be not understood, as if you are betraying your parents and you hurting them. So that's why we step back and minimize our voice and our choices. I know people who ended up becoming a doctor just because the father is doctor. And when this is a story of a man, but it doesn't matter, man or woman. So this guy told me, I was in my room on my bed, and one day my father enters. He throws the suitcase on the floor, and he said, start packing. In 3 days you're going to another country to study medicine, because his father is a very successful doctor and very known. Now he is choosing the destiny of his son. The son is passionate about photography, passionate about, he's very handsome, and he used to be a model. He needs to abandon all of these dreams just because his father believes this is the way. Now this guy is a doctor. He's a very good doctor, but he's not 100% happy. And I can feel that every time, like every time when we spoke, it was in the past. The thing is that you are not just allowed. Creator wants you to question things. and check everything. Does it align with your present life? Is it something that moves you forward, even if it moves you away from your family? Does it mean that you are scared to be fully yourself because you don't want to hurt? But actually, will they be ever hurt? In reality, can you hurt anyone? In reality, you cannot hurt anyone. When your parents are feeling sad and offended, it's not the fact that you are doing something, because you are taking that hope away of that better life from them that they did not fulfill. In fact, maybe you moving away from the belief system of your parents will give them a good slap and wake them up, and they will start questioning, where did they get this from? Maybe they will follow your example. So this is what creates the change in the world. And this is the purpose of women, to create new generation that is different from the previous. Because this is the law of evolution. Every next child must be better, because we are supposed to someday procreate that superman or superwoman, superhuman being who has better ways, who is more spiritual, who is more respective to earth, who is more respective to the self. But it seems like we are stuck. What happens just in terms of health? Every next generation is more weak and more sick. Today, so many kids, when they're 3, 5, 7, they're already wearing glasses. They are already obese. There is crazy change in the DNA. So we are changing, but we are not changing in a rising way. We are descending. So that's why you are given permission by the creator to question everything that you have. And maybe you can do this in this phase of life, which is we are transiting into 2020, and this is very important. So now the next one, forgets the covenant of her God. She does forget the covenant of God because she is allowed to forget the covenant of God. It means, first of all, that she has unique relationship with God and unique relationship with everything. For example, it was Eve who spoke to snake. And if you will dig a little bit more, the concept of snake in yoga, right? Kundalini is a force that is formed or shaped in a snake body. So snake is actually a very spiritual concept, a deep wisdom, very mystical, hidden information. Do you remember Mowgli, the movie, or the tale Mowgli? So Kaa, the snake, was the most wise, and the way even it moved and it spoke, it was like it's like how to say, some spirit, right? So Eve was able to speak to snake. It means that Eve has that perception that she understands that language. Adam could not speak with snake. Snake did not approach Adam. If it would approach Adam, Adam would see just the snake, another animal. Eve could sense, also Harry Potter, I remembered suddenly. There is one movie, one part of the movie where he is a snake whisperer, and everybody were shocked, like, how do you know this language? This is very old, ancient language, and only special people understand. So woman is very unique, who again has something with conversation and understanding. So she has unique relationship with God. When she perceives the covenants, she is allowed to turn away and leave and create something. Now let's go deeper into this concept of covenant. Now, throughout these scripts and all these studies, it is obvious in Bible, you don't need to dig like into Kabbalah, that God made covenants throughout the history with Adam, Moses, Noah, and Abraham. What is a covenant? Covenant is a message that is a task to be fulfilled. So go there, do this, or don't do that. So for example, to Adam, he said, this is the tree of knowledge. You can eat from any tree in the garden, any fruit, but don't touch the tree of knowledge. To Moses, go to Egypt, do that. People will die, but ignore it, trust me, like a military thing. Now, throughout history, there is no information that God ever made any covenant to matriarchs. What God did, and not also directly, because God doesn't reveal itself directly. There were certain angels or spirits sent to women to just inform about something. For example, there were angels coming to Sarah when she was very old and she didn't have any children. She was wife of Abraham. So Abraham is the father of monotheistic religion, and he had his wife Sarah. They didn't have children. And one day, angels revealed themselves to her when she was like 80, 70, and they said, you're going to conceive. We are just informing you. This is not a task to do. It's very different, right? And this same happened to Rebecca, Leah, Mary, and Eve. And by the way, about, just to give you a little bit another teaser about Adam and Eve in the garden. Did you ever pay attention, or maybe you didn't, because maybe you didn't open the Bible, you just know about the story, how it is evolving through whatever you heard, or maybe in school. So the fruit of knowledge. First, Creator made Adam and then said, this is the garden, you can eat from any tree, but do not touch the tree of knowledge. Then Eve was created. And then Eve ate the fruit. What does it mean? It means that Eve were not even present when this covenant was made. It was passed only to Adam. And then Adam, when Eve was born, he spoke to Eve. What did he say? We don't know. How did he say? We don't know. But we know that Eve disobeyed. She turned the covenant. So she left the covenant of her God. Why? Because it was the purpose. This was her purpose to do that. And God exactly made things happen in that sequence because he knew that Adam will never eat the fruit. So he made Adam, he put him into this obligation of not eating. And Adam was like, okay, I'm going to obey my father. So it's funny that he is not the rebel. The rebel is Eve. And that's why God is like, okay, I'm going to waste my time. I need to create somebody who will finally do this and start the universe. Now, mitzvot. So mitzvot from Hebrew means commandments. And this is plural. In singular, it's mitzvah. So when you open the Hebrew teaching, there are 630 commandments to be followed by men. Only 3 are to be followed by women. So I can tell you that man is that kind of human being that needs to be literally said and pointed what to do. And this is how the structure of militarian teaching was born. So any hierarchical structure in this world, like government, company organization, there is a president and there are vice presidents, so everything is transmitted from here to here. So this same, the pyramid, right? So the same way the teachings of Kabbalah and other yoga scripts all over the world, this is how it was passed from teacher to disciple. And then all disciples gather and they study together. So that's why most of the time women were separated from entering synagogue or from praying all day long and reading the script, so man would sit together and read. Women were not doing that. They would do something at home, which are the 3 commandments, and this was enough. Why is it like this? We can think maybe because they were trying to suppress women, but on the other hand, she doesn't need that. A woman doesn't need to open a script and sit and study, because she is free, because she has a common sense. She knows exactly what is black and white, what is evil and good, because she has that embedded in her body. Where man needs to be gathered in a certain class with certain rules and follow. And that's why this hierarchical structure was passed, because well, men are stronger in this world. Whether you like it, physically they are stronger, so they are dominating in the world, and this has created the patriarchal scheme where we need to gather together and do something, where in fact woman doesn't need that at all. So what are these 3 commandments? This is Nerot, which is lighting the candles on Friday night. The lighting of candles symbolizes bringing the light back to the darkness, because it is believed that when Eve ate the fruit, she spoiled the world. So she spoiled the universe, and now it's a correction. So she brought darkness to the world. And now every time when she lights the candles, she is bringing the light back. So as if she is guilty, and that's why she's doing it. In fact, I can tell you that the world was spoiled not when Eve ate the fruit. It was spoiled long time before the Big Bang. So that was the primordial spoil, or the breaking of the energies in that moment. So now woman is somebody who is responsible to correct that. The second one is challah. Challah is a bread. So when woman is making the dough, every ingredient means something. Egg, flour, water, these are the elements that she brings back together. So as if like you have organs and everything separate, and now you're making the body again. So you are even creating that body. That's why bread in many traditions and cultures is sacred. So not the bread that we have today, okay? Gluten, not gluten-free. This is all like the real bread that we used to have in villages. You know, it even smells indifferent. It's leaven bread. So when she makes that dough, she separates the one small part, keeps it apart. It also related to the correction of the world. So I highlighted the word separating here. Just remember it for now, and then we will come back to it. Now, the third is nidda, is a traditional diving into the water of mikveh. Mikveh is a kind of, I would say, it's a little structure of stone that like a bathroom built separately outside of the house, where women come, and after menstruating, they dip themselves in those water. It's supposed to be a holy water. So also during menstruation, she needs to have that sexual and physical separation from her man. And there is an explanation why. And today we actually live in the days where I know personally women who are really craving for sex during menstruation or just before. And it gives a sensation of like cramp relief or something, where in fact, if woman will stop doing that, she will have so much support to herself on a very subtle level. So it's not that she is forbidden. One thing you need to understand, there is nothing forbidden in this world. You are allowed to do anything you want. You can go and kill people and steal and eat that gluten and drink alcohol and smoke, whatever you want. There is nothing going to punish you and say you are guilty. No, you are allowed to do whatever you want. But another thing is, if I'm allowed to do everything, is everything is useful for me? Is everything is necessary for me? And who decides what is useful and not? Who decides? Your body. Your body decides. And sometimes the outcomes of that interference into the spiritual anatomy of your body will not come so fast. It may take years, or maybe now you are recovering still from those acts that you've been doing in your previous life, if you believe in incarnation. So you are constantly correcting what we are doing in this world because of that first reason of spoiling the universe before the Big Bang. We are constantly in the self-correction mode. When we are correcting ourselves, we are correcting the whole world globally. So we're helping Creator to rectify that spoilage. And this is all our collective purpose on this planet. Now, we are jumping to the next. So for her house sings to death and her paths lead to death. Now, what does this mean? So her house sings to death is concerning menstruation. What does it mean? So let's look just a quick one review and a little bit from different perspective. What happens during menstruation? We are shedding the skin and the tissues and the ovum that was not fertilized. We are shedding because we don't need it. Now, when it's separate from our own flesh, it is considered to be dead. If you ask any teachers, what is impurity? What is the biggest impurity in the world? And they will tell you that the corpse, the tissues of the corpse are the most impure in this world, in this realm, and in science as well. So the death, the concept of death is something that we are, it's necessary to stay away from. Now, this created a concept of fear. We shouldn't be scared of death. We actually need to understand what does it mean. So menstruation is something that woman is touching. She is becoming the producer, the creator, not only of life, but also of death. In that moment, in shamanic traditions, for example, in South American, in Peruvian, there is a understanding that during menstruation, if a woman practices conscious menstruation, at some point she will be able to go through a very, very subtle gates. She has ability to perceive something from a different dimension. This is how I can tell you that many women shared with me that during PMS or during menstruation, they have these like insights, like, wow, I can do that. Or some understanding about herself, about relationship, about life, about God, whatever, but just insights. And these are only glimpses of what you can actually do. So women in that tradition, Toltec tradition, they would practice every single menstruation in a certain way to get to that point where when the menstruation comes, they just sit there and hold space and they receive the knowledge. And that's why God says, stop following what your parents taught you and what your society taught you, because you are meant to channel new. You are meant to channel new and then create new universe. Now, this is, I can link now why woman needs to be separated. When she is in menstruation, she is exceptionally vulnerable and susceptible to alien energies. So that's why now when she is menstruating, she is the foreigner. She is the supreme foreigner for all the people that are not allowed to approach her. They need to leave her alone. So she holds that space and then she starts going deep within her womb and starts to channel that. So when somebody invades her space, it's like she sits there in her frequency, and then there is another frequency. Now these are foreigners all for her, and they are invaders. They are invading, and she loses that. So today what happens, that women don't do that, they don't even feel that, but what they feel is that during PMS and menstruation, you're like, I'm triggered, like everything is irritating me, I feel cranky. This is the reason where the crankiness is coming from, because you are extremely sensitive. That sensitivity has a purpose to be used to channel that, but because you are not doing, and you are constantly present with other people, and mostly some women are even having sex, this is like crazy. So it's not that it's bad or forbidden, it's taking you away from that space that you can go inwards. So because during menstruation, there are certain periods where all humans are completely opening and becoming vulnerable, like raw, where something can come in. This is when we eat, this is when we sleep, this is when we make love, and this is when we menstruate. So it's how do you eat, in what kind of environment, how do you sleep, in what kind of moods, with what kind of person. So sometimes, for example, me and my husband, like if we feel there is some weird dynamics and like between us and whatever, we will just separate beds, and we actually allow ourselves to realign again, to restructure our like a subtle body, and then we come back to each other, and then we feel like, oh, okay, now we can sleep. And actually he cannot sleep next to me when I'm menstruating. First of all, I introduced him to that, but then when we, for the sake of experiment, we try to sleep together, it's crazy. Like he's tossing and turning and waking up and disturbing me, and I hear all this sound. So I'm disturbing his energy and he's disturbing my energy. So this is something where I am going into that dead place where I'm touched by the spirit of death. And this is a place where it's a sanctuary that you need to hold yourself. Now, when her house sinks to death, her path leads to death. So, as I mentioned, actually, all of this, I covered both lines now. You are opening your path during the menstruation. And where your paths lead, nobody can enter, right? So none who go to her return. First of all, you cannot go there where she goes. So when a man interferes during menstruation, she is not able to go there, and she's not able to bring something back. So when she's not bringing something back with her, she cannot create a better life. So it will affect her ovulation, it will affect her whole mood. So it's like a karma. The way you practice your menstruation will come back at you the whole month. And neither do they achieve their ways of life. So they live with you, they don't achieve the ways of life, they don't receive that through you, because woman is a channel in the family. So this is what it means. So also the way that woman is creating life, because there is no life without death, and she knows what is death, she is able to achieve the way of life. And the way of life is also means the way of life is the Tao. So woman understands what is the true Tao. She's not, this is not mental understanding, okay, intellectual, like you will read and you're like, oh, I understand what it means. Forget about that. That actually approach and attitude forced us to become externally active. Let's read, let's do this, let's attend 10 courses, and let's watch 20 YouTube videos, and like I wanna inject my brain with all this information, then I'm like buzzing. No, this is not the way. Actually, if you even cut from every sources and you will just practice that which is given to you by nature, you will channel your own philosophy and your own spiritual way. And that will be so unique, and that will be so enough. Now, what do we have? Yeah, so none who go to her return. No one can perceive the death as woman does. So the death, because she is on her cellular level, knows what is death, because she is going through that on a monthly basis. And then even when there is a transition from menstruation to menopause. Menopause is another phase of death, and it's like beautiful. It's a death that gets her into the second spring of her life, and this is called the golden age of a woman. She is becoming the priestess. And by the way, in some shamanic traditions, it is believed that a woman who did not pass through the whole experience of all menstruation and then the menopause cannot become a shaman, because now she is a whole container. She experienced that. She didn't learn from a book like man sitting and praying, right? She experienced and passed it through her body. Now her understanding is a cellular level or a gut feeling, or, which is more precise and correct, she is the womb consciousness. It's not the brain that we are working here. We need that brain in order to navigate through social life, like pay your bills and do something. Like I needed to put all this presentation together and something. But this part that I'm doing right now was only 30% of that 70, the rest which I was doing from the consciousness of my womb. Neither do they achieve the ways of life. So we know that men, they do not create life. They are participating in that process. But the labor, the 9 months of caring, and previously to that, menstruation and ovulation, is something that God is saying, you need to let her go. Make her go her ways, because she has her own understanding that she perceives for those gates that open through menstruation, and because you will not be able to teach her. And dear parents, you are not able to teach her. You have to understand one thing: there is no teacher for a woman in her life. Not because she is like supreme goddess. No, it's not that arrogance, okay? It's actually a very humble position where you understand that, woman, you learned everything from life, about life, from your parents, but you need to admit that you know nothing. And now you need to study it from within through that monthly, very sacred rite that you are going through. Because only you will understand what is real life. And the way you will understand is different from my understanding. And this is the base of my sharings also. I always share something, but I don't say, okay, this is microphone and it's black and you should use it only this way. That's it. This is my teaching. Follow me. No, this is not what I'm for. I'm actually, I think the base, the key point of my, I don't want to use word teaching, my sharing is that I want to tell you that you should abandon everything that you know and recreate new, and question and doubt everything. Ask questions. In the childhood, when we are growing, we start asking, there is this age between like 3 to 5 to 6 where we start asking, why is this, how is that, blah blah blah. And we really tire our parents with these questions, and most of the time we are asked like, can you go play? I don't know, stop asking me the same questions. I don't know, leave me alone, or whatever. So we numb that curious personality. We need to recreate that little girl who is constantly curious to know, and she does not believe anything until she experiences that. So then it means that she will create new life. Now I'm going to introduce you to a little bit more of the concept of Kabbalah, which will open this all information deeper. This is called the tree of life. And all these circles are called Sefirot. So Sefira is a space or a level, and they're all different. And all of this also corresponds to other teachings like chakras. For example, if you look at the drawing, this is first chakra. This is second. This is third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Now, what is this in Kabbalah? Kabbalah believes that everything was channeled from above to down, but this is not dimension. It's not about dimension, like if you look up and you feel like Keter is up there. No, it's not. And Malhut is below your feet. No, it's not. In that understanding, there is no like ups and downs. But in order for us to understand, for the mind, the Kabbalists, ancient Kabbalists, they channeled this drawing, this image. So just keep it in your mind that nothing is below or above, but there is something higher, which means more closer to Creator. So the most close to Creator is Keter. And then Keter was created first, and then it started channeling the light of Creator. So everything that is you can see around is made out of that light. And this is actually proven in science, which is first we saw that the smallest physical matter is atom, but actually it's quartz. So quartz is the light. And this is translates into like actually everything consists out of the light. So Keter started channeling and went down to Chokmah, Bina, Hesed, Gevura, blah, blah, blah. And then it came to Malhut. Now, also this corresponds to the, it's like a blueprint to everything in life. So it's also a blueprint to physical body of human. So Keter is somewhere where we have head, then there is shoulders and arms, left side and right side. Then there is heart and solar plexus, hips, knees, genitals are here as well, knees and feet. Okay, so everything is that way. So now what Kabbalah is saying, that there is a very certain borderline. Now, where do you think, if we ask where the universe is? So the universe and everything that you might perceive as matter. So everything that your mind can even imagine about this universe, like planet Earth, moon, sun, all the planets, cosmos, all the galaxies, everything, the smallest piece on the planet here, I don't know, every little single grain, all the bacteria and microbes, everything is in Malhut. So if you think it's like has no limits, but it's only here, and this is called 1% of reality. So if you think that you will not be able to perceive this 1% of reality in one life. In one life, we're not even able to travel all the globe. So can you think of what actually the reality is? There is a 99%. Oh, wrong button. 99%. So this concept of 1 and 99 has a lot of tool to use in everyday life. For example, you have a situation, a case in your life, and you are like, why is this happening to me? This is a curse, and like, or this is very negative, and it's been there so long. I don't know what's going on. I want changes in my life. So you have these stories of judgments and feeling like a victim. Well, you are only stuck in 1%. You need to give time and space for the rest 99 to reveal itself. And that is a process that can last week, months, years, I don't know, decades. It depends on how much you're going to be stuck in 1%. So the more you are stuck only seeing things the way they are, we are going to focus right now on these three primary, and they reveal more about womanhood. So these are crown, wisdom, and understanding. Keter, Chokmah, and Bina. So first, when there was nothing, complete void and emptiness, or so-called darkness, Creator felt will, or the desire to create the universe. So Creator channeled a light that will be the resource to build that universe. This why hidden? Because we cannot perceive it. So then it started creating Chokmah, or the masculine, which is the wisdom, or everlasting Father, the beginning seed, divine mind. The masculine means the concept of the mind, the thought. And this is related to wisdom. It has a lot of potential what it can become. But on the level of Bina, this is where you start doing something. So when we think of man and woman, man has resources and has the power. But Bina knows what to do. In this way, Kabbalah says, who is more powerful? Man. But who is the boss? Woman. His power is just a thought, it's just an energy, or it's just a mind without its revelation. So understanding is not mental intelligence. When you read and you understand, or 2 + 2 is 4, I understand that. No, that is not. Understanding is when you are processing internally and you know. And only when you know, you are able to speak. And that's why I said that woman's purpose here is to speak, to reveal the divine ideas, that thought that was contained, and now she understood, she undressed it, and she's like, this is what we have, and this is what we're going to do. So that's why we're saying that behind great man there is always a great woman who kind of moves him and shapes him. Now, on this level, when Creator channeled all the force down, and here on this level we were one soul. So when we in esoteric books, when we read, or when we read posts like, we are all one, we need to unite together, and blah 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 blah, this is the reason where we have this longing to be one again. But the thing is, we can be one and we cannot be one at the same time. Because when we go back to oneness, complete oneness, if we will all unite, actually, it means it's the end. What else to do here? So this level of having one soul does not give a gift of experiencing life, of making mistakes and correcting and evolving. And when do we experience? Only when we are in relationship. Not when you and me, we are one body. How can I experience myself if I'm containing everything? I need to separate everything out. So I'm gonna cut myself and separate into 5 aliyahs. Now these 5 aliyahs can have relationship, they can have drama, disputes, love, fighting, anything, and through that interrelationship we will grow. Now Bina is the individualized souls. This is where that one soul was broken into thousands of souls that became independent individuals. Okay, now it means that, which I mentioned before, Bina is grasping that idea, grasping that one soul, understands its potential, and is like on that level, what could I do with this one big soul? I want to experience. So actually this was the purpose of Creator, because we are all made out of light, of Creator's light. Creator thought, I don't know how powerful I am. I don't know what I'm capable of. I want to experience myself. This is an experiment. We are Creator's experiment through which it can experience itself. It can experience feelings, emotions, war, peace, everything, birth, death. So the Bina level, the feminine, which is also the right hemisphere, understood what it can do. It's not Creator anymore. It's the independent choice. And root of word Bina is Bain. Bain means between you and me. So the Bina level is when you separate. Do you remember in the beginning I highlighted the word separation and I asked you remember that? Now, the purpose of a woman is to separate things or to bring chaos, to break things. And this is why Eve ate the fruit. She was like, Adam will not just do that. He will just sit and, if Eve was not created and would not eat that fruit, Adam will just end up like living in heaven all the life, all the universe, and doing nothing. There is no evolution. In order for us to evolve, we need drama. Okay, so that's when Eve came and she separated. So they were separated from the garden. Now, this is the level of verbalization. How does the woman provoke man? She verbalizes. Now I'm going to quote one man who is Russian Kabbalist, and he says, without woman, man would just end up playing his games. We would just like sit and do nothing. With woman who triggers us through her concept of deep understanding and then triggering through speech, she moves us. Otherwise, we will lay on our sofa all day long and play games with other men. So that's why we say that in a way, men are children and they don't grow up, only the price of their toys is changing. So this is why man really needs a woman. But the interesting thing that woman doesn't need a man. She can continue evolving by herself without man, but man cannot move further in his evolution without a woman, because somebody needs to trigger. Another man can trigger him, but they're going to destroy each other. So it's going to be war. So where woman, how she triggers him, she's constantly triggers him to become better. Like, look at your belly, you need to exercise, we need to change this old sofa, I want a bigger house, I want this, I want that. So all her desires, she's constantly saying her desire. So woman is the seed of the desire. Now this is, I put there to make you more understand how we can see that on a deeper level inside of our body. So creator, it is that force, or we can say that makes you ovulate and go through all that monthly regulation in your body. And then Hokmah comes as a one sperm cell and enters that big fat bina of understanding. And remember what happens when the conception starts. So first there is one cell, then there are two, then there are 4, 8, 16, and etc. It separates. So the word separation happens all the time. And this is what happened in the beginning before the Big Bang. There was one big nothingness. And then God separated something out of itself into create something, and that something started breaking, and then we had our universe. So now, woman sitting there, she is attracting everything like a magnet into her womb. And this is called Kabbalah, because she is receiving. And word Kabbalah translates as receiving. In this concept, you, me, and all humans in the world, including plants and including animals, we are all receiving that light or life. So we are receiving. We cannot continue and function if we don't eat, which is receiving the food, which if we don't inhale, which is receiving the air, we are constantly receiving. But woman is a supreme receiver, because inside of her receiving, she has extra vessel, which is the uterus, that is receiving more. That's why I told you that during menstruation, when she goes to that another transiting to another dimension, she's receiving some extra knowledge. So as a receiver, it's interesting that today many women saying that I don't know how to receive. I'm just constantly giving and giving and giving, and then at the end of the day, I feel exhausted. I feel everything everybody took out of me, and I'm not receiving anything. And even if somebody gives me something, a gift, I feel shy. I feel like, oh, no, 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 please, please. I feel so bad. So it's like crazy. We are the receivers, but we are losing that relationship with our main quality. Now, to summarize, so we started with learning the 4 lines from the Proverbs. To save you from a strange woman, from a foreign one who makes her words smooth, who deserts the Lord of her youth and forgets the covenant of her God. For her house sinks to death, and her paths lead to death. None who go to her return, neither do they achieve the waves of life. What does it mean? It means that a man who accepts woman's individuality saves himself, for she has her own understanding, for she knows what is life, because she creates the life with patience, peace, and gratitude. Woman has rights to separate from parents, to break free from their way so she can create her own way, because she has unique relationship with God. Woman's purpose is to create division between one and another, to speak truth that will reveal the darkness and transform into light. During menstruation, she travels to the depth of Malchut, which is the lowest Sefirot, where our world is, and it's also known as the bottom of the bottom. We need to drop down. And the thing is, many times we speak, let's rise, let's ascend, feminine is rising, all women are rising. In fact, this is just a beautiful saying, but in fact, feminine does not rise, feminine descends. She descended here to the bottom, and then when she is menstruating or giving birth, she even descends to the core, to the unknown place, and comes back with her knowledge, with her own knowledge. Her womb is the temple that houses life and death. Okay, questions. Let's throw questions. Okay, regarding womb. Thank you, Mandy, so much. Thank you, Tatiana, for your question. So this is the whole concept of why I'm doing all of this, is going back to the womb and learning. We're gonna do a meditation right now, and you will feel that. So yes, there are certain practices. What I can tell you right now, what we're going to do now, you can do every day. The superficial layer, which you need to start, is, as Mandy referred, you need to start tracking. First thing is to address the physical health of your cycle. And cycle involves all the systems together. They are related to each other. The second thing is to start feeling. Feeling, it means that, for example, I can tell you, I have a very flat tummy, not like 8 packs, I'm not striving for that. But with that flat tummy, I realized how within 3-4 years, I cannot wear tights and most of the yoga pants because they are constantly pressing on my belly. Now I see also how I had a tendency to tighten my belly and like to look like, oh, I have a nice slim waist. When you start feeling how your womb is feeling and how your pelvis is feeling, you start changing everything. Okay, these pants are too tight. I'm sitting in a way that is pressing on my pelvic floor. I'm walking too much, my legs are getting tired, my hips are tight. These are all connected to each other. So now I don't have even time to mention everything, but yes, there are steps of the practice and how you do that from the zero foundation, the ABCs, and then you start evolving to deeper and deeper. I can tell you that today I don't have any, like, this is very honest sharing. I don't have a woman, my client who works with me, and we actually started going to very deep energy work of the womb. We are only still working with the superficial. And the thing is that woman is constantly creating obstacles for herself. So let's say we have a certain how do you call it, structure of practice for the week. Oh, I didn't have time. So changing in every daily life. And this is where it triggers that you cannot go beyond. Okay, so first of all, let's do this right now. And I want to show you, just give a quick reminder of what do you have between your legs. So let us just refresh. What do we have? Oops. No. Yes, okay. So this is our pelvic floor, and we have the body of the uterus. Okay, and as I said, it's hollow and empty. That's why void and emptiness is our nature. Now we have fallopian tubes, which is the part of the body of the uterus, and the ovaries, which are separate. These are the ligaments that hold and help for them not to move very far away, and otherwise they will just flow away. So, but ovaries are separate. And then if you go further, we have cervix. Now, cervix plays a crucial part in woman's practice. Now, we have vagina or vaginal canal, and then we have clitoris, and these are the labias. So the minus, and this is in another language, but this is labia major and labia minor, which are more inside. So I just want you to remember the pathway, because now I'm going to take you through the visualization of this structure. Now we can take a good seat. So make sure that your pelvic floor is really grounded on the chair or wherever you're sitting. And then if you are not sitting with your feet on the floor, please move and put your feet flat on the floor. So when you're sitting, you're not leaning back on that whatever chair back you have. You are sitting straight. So it means that there is a space between you and the wall behind. Now, having flat feet on the earth is very important, because these are the plugs to the earth, And we have a point, acupressure point there, which is called K1 or kidney 1, which works as a spring well that starts taking in the energy from the earth. Now close your eyes and introduce yourself to your posture and feel your whole body at the same time, and without making any external physical movements. I want you to align your posture from inside. It's the energy, it's the feeling when you just relax yourself into this posture and arrive, fully occupy the space. Give full freedom to your belly and invite your breath to start flowing here in the belly in a very subtle way. So this is the effortless breath. You are not exaggerating the inhalation and exhalation, moving the belly in and out. We are going to separate that understanding of breath. 30% you are doing physically in your belly. 70% is your desire, willpower, and visualization. And this takes you to non-violent breath, because when we over-breathe physically, we can create that cage again in the belly. Now shift your focus to your face and fully relax your forehead. Fully relax your eyebrows. Let go of your eyelids. And feel your eyeballs inside of your eyes. Literally feel these spheres and relax your eyeballs. Now feel the space behind your eyes, deep in your head. And relax this space. Allow the same relaxation energy to flow into your jaw. And remember, on your left side of the face and right side, you have those deep jaw joints where the bones are sitting inside. And relax these joints. As you are relaxing your jaw, simultaneously relax the whole pelvis. As you are relaxing your tongue, simultaneously relax your labia, the lower lips between your legs. These two centers are connected, not just in esoteric way, but through tissues. The jaw is a copy of the big pelvis. Even in the bony structure, they look similar. Now, through that relaxation, travel all the way down through your spine into your pelvis and arrive to your labia. The first gate, the lips of the vagina. Stay here and focus your 200% of internal vision and sensation of your lower lips. It's like your inside vision, hearing, smelling, everything is going there, all your senses. And the more you focus on them, the more you feel them. It's becoming warm, tingling. You suddenly feel like, wow, you have labia. They're so alive. And feel the right side and the left side. And then start joining them right at the clitoris. And feel your clitoris in a very calm way. Clitoris has tremendous amount of nerves. And even the thought can be a stimulation. So I want you to choose a very calm, very gentle introduction of yourself to your clitoris. Now very slowly start gliding towards the entrance of the vaginal canal. And enter 1/3 of the vaginal canal and stay there. Feel the walls. Feel the walls of like this cylindrical shape. And very slowly continue breathing. Your jaw is relaxed, your belly is relaxed, as if you are moving up very slowly to the middle part of the vagina. And even more slowing down as you are approaching the gates of the cervix. And you're going to pause right in front of the gates. Feel yourself fully there. You are still in the vaginal canal, standing right in front of the cervical gates. Everything is vibrating, tingling, pulsing. Now, before you enter, I invite you to become as soft in your whole attitude as you ever could be in your life. It means that you're going to let go of everything you have in your life right now to become completely empty. That will release any sign of violence, any sign of grasping and holding, and becoming just a pure free will and desire to connect. You're going to start flowing into the tissues of the cervix, this spongy, narrow entrance, and stay right here. You are inside of the bridge between vagina and the uterus. And I want you to breathe deep into your belly and then deep into your cervix right here. And feeling how when you're expanding on a subtle level, you don't do anything physically. On a subtle level, the cervix expands like petals of a rose. And when you exhale, it relaxes. Take few long, effortless, natural breaths here. And your every breath becomes a message. an intention. And your message is, I'm here, I love you, I feel you, I am soft, I am relaxed, and that's why you are loving me. You are soft, you are relaxed, breathing. And the cervix opens up. And it's not you who is doing the movement anymore, but the cervix gently invites you, moves you forward to enter the temple of your womb. The flow is taking you into the center. You are there in that hollow space, like in the triangle shaped temple. Just be here. You can visualize how you are kneeling down and almost going to the floor of the uterus. Sitting down on that floor, becoming very humble, becoming who you are, a pure, open heart, soft, sensing woman. And as you are breathing right there inside, you can see how the living walls of your uterus are synchronizing that breath with you, and you can see that subtle movement of breath. The bright colors of beautiful blood, the capillaries, the shiny mucus covering, protecting the walls. And it feels like this is a space that you have never ever stepped in before. You have never experienced such tremendous calmness and sense of home. And at the same time, it is so familiar. You know this place. Everything in you, every cell knows this place. And the way you feel right now, it's undescribable. There are no words, no books, no teachers, no one can describe what you are feeling right now. You're breathing deep and visualize how you are just feeling so welcomed by this space. She tells you, just relax, lay back, spread your body, and let me hold you. And now you feel the surface beneath you, a living being that is breathing into your body, holding your back. She has your back. And as you are breathing together as one, invoke your ancient deepest sense of understanding. Just by one thought, just welcome it, invite it to be here, and invite it to be the communication device between you and your womb. To make it work, you only need to breathe. Understanding. Because it's so ancient, it comes from the primordial mother. Its arrival is a process. You don't need to do anything. You are only receiving. You are the Kabbalah right now. And all the teachings are in you. Allow this understanding to be like a spirit. It's so massive that it needs a time to arrive fully here. And with every moment, it occupies more and more inside of your body and inside of the womb temple. It's beyond the animal instinct. It's beyond all the ancestral programs. It's beyond any philosophy. It is the knowledge on a cellular level where you understand who you are. You're simply breathing. Allowing whichever visions to come up, whichever memories, remembering that you have a power of choice. You can keep what you want. What you don't like, you just say thank you and put it away. You are perfectly neutral. It means there is no even reason for judgment or analyzing. You are just simply making your choices. And feeling how this understanding is fully flowing into you. What are you understanding? How? So many questions there are all dropped like walls. It all doesn't matter. Now your inhalation is actually drinking that understanding. So every time you inhale, take it deep. So you are planting this into your cells, into your nervous system, into your brain. This energy will turn that switch in your body that shows that your understanding mode is officially on. So you can navigate through daily life with this remembered, restored sense. Filling up all your body from your toes to your crown. Breathe in, drink in, take it in. And also feeling how your womb is doing the same. And now, while are you laying there, you can visualize how you are turning to your right side, curling up into a fetus, and then sitting up and standing on your feet inside of the temple of your womb. And as you took that vertical position, which symbolizes the action, manifestation in life, you're feeling how you became somehow taller, bigger, stronger, also more rooted, more confident. You don't know how it worked, why it worked, but this is the fact. Are you going to question that or analyze that? Is that necessary? You're just going to accept everything you received. And now take a moment to express yourself before you leave the temple of your womb, whatever you want to express to her in your own way. And then feel how there is a very amazing feeling, how something is pulling you down back to the cervix. You're like a water just flowing out. You know how every month she is releasing? Now you are going through the same process. You're flowing out into the cervix, the soft, the peaceful. And she is smiling to you. And you're flowing out into the vagina, all the way down. It's like giving birth to yourself without any need of contraction. It's just all natural flow through the labia, down into your feet. Feel your feet flat on the floor and feel yourself back sitting. Feel your arms and legs. Feel your spine, your face. Feeling completely arriving back 100% to the present moment, to your room, wherever you are. Feeling that room around you. Take a deep, long breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. And start slowly stretching. Another introduction yourself. This is a transition, which is very important. Before you open your eyes, and just take a few cat stretches. And whenever you feel ready, and you feel your eyes are ready, being very gentle with them, and slowly opening them. coming back. Oof. I would love to hear if you manage to connect and sense first the presence of you, the cervix and the uterus, and how the sense of understanding worked for you. Okay. It's just the beginning. The more you do it, you will feel more. One thing that we are not able to stay focused there, we can translate that to anything in life. So, for example, I am listening every day to art of Sri Aurobindo. I don't know if you heard about him. He has a poem about a primordial mother, and it's translated from Sanskrit to many languages. And to listen to that requires so much concentration, and the mind constantly flows away. So I can see that we women are losing the concentration, and how we are constantly bombarded by the technologies and socializing. So slowly, you will learn how to do that again, because this is the practice where a woman can stay for hours and hours in her womb, and this is where you actually perceive channeling the information and her voice. You hear in her voice. Okay, before you everybody leave, they have two things to mention. So this is now where I can answer like how and what you can do in terms of if we are doing it together. So let me share this last bit and then we can say goodbye. Now, in January, I cannot tell you when exactly, I'm launching the it's not 2 months, it's 12 models online course that you study by yourself. It's called Red Medicine. It's the rites of moon cycle. So this is where you go deep and study everything. One module is 2 classes, and they are recorded videos. So I share theory, I share a lot of perspective. So there is physical anatomy, there is spiritual anatomy. We cover every phase separately. And the thing is that this is where I combine everything like Kabbalah, yoga, and Tao, and they become like a network that I weave together. And in fact, you don't even need to know which is Tao, which is Kabbalah. I'm going to refer to that, but when it comes together, it becomes a perfect mix. So there's going to be a breast health, because breast is part of reproductive system. HPO axis, HPA, so hypothalamus, pituitary, and ovaries is one communicational system, and hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenals, this is another. So this is where we actually drain ourselves, and due to that drainage by external stimuli, women are not able to focus, because like we're like this inside, our nervous system is constantly. So when I'm asking you to go into the womb, sometimes it's like, whoa, I'm getting there, I feel everything, but then I'm flushed out, and then I need to go back. So how do we actually finally arrive and stay there? So you will learn what is womb consciousness, because woman is not the intelligence and brain. Forget about that. We use that 20%. And this is totally enough. It doesn't mean that we are stupid and we cannot be scientists or whatever, we cannot build career. No, it's not about that. But you are offered to initiate your life from that brain, from the God brain. And you understand how it works on physical, anatomical level, and spiritual. So I'm also sharing physical practice, which means that throughout the month, you will have different type of exercise. So I'm initially yoga instructor, but I don't teach yoga the standard way anymore. I have created my own way. So I have developed how you can flow with the hormones. So sometimes there is a time when you are so empowered that you can do like Ashtanga class 2 times a day. And there are times when you are dead in your body and you're just like, I cannot go to that class. So the thing is, you don't need to struggle and force yourself for anything or skip anything. You just change. So there are different types of movements: floor communication, uh, flowing, dancing, only breathing, connecting inwards. There is a lot of Taoist methods of movement, connecting like yin. It's not yin yoga, it's a yin style. So breath, a lot of breath for each phase, breathing with different organs, breath of womb, breath of ovaries, a lot of meditations. So this kind of meditations that we did not right now, but more deeper and longer. And I use word meditation, but it's actually not mindfulness. It's a bodyfulness. So you see, there is a lot of visualization and traveling and changing things. And then you're going to receive love maps. What is love maps? Here, how it looks. So I have created love metamorphosis map, which means if you look to the left side right here, loyalty stands for L. Omnipresence stands for O, virtue stands for V, and epiphany stands for E, and together they create love. So this is a love map, and this map specifically shows you how your all hormones are going and what's happening, why you are feeling bloated, why you're feeling your digestion is poor, or you have constipation and blah, blah. So I explain everything. Now this map has 5 different versions. I use the same blueprint for your mind. So the anatomy of the mind, how the mind flows through your cycle with the same. Then how your spiritual practice with the cycle. Then how your diet, my recommendation, and you can always change that. And then how your movements. So you are receiving different types and you can print them all out. So this is something for this specific course, okay? So this course is all by yourself, and the price will be $350, and it will be available on a separate platform from my website. So you just go, you pay, and then you go through each model. When you finish it, you switch to the next one. And also you can always keep in touch with me and ask questions. The other thing, which is not online course, your individual, but a weekly live class, just like we're doing now, but the Tao Yin Alchemy, every week from January 2, which is the first Thursday. I think it's a Thursday. We're going to meet for 2 hours where we'll start explaining and introducing women to what is Tao Yin. So in that, we will start from the very basic and very gradually come into personal practice. And this is all preparation. And preparation, my darlings, takes years to become that Tao woman. So we will, this lady here that is beautifully depicted is the manifestation of immortal sisters known as the matriarchs in Tao Yin history. in ancient times who possessed the hidden secret information about that. So you're going to study what is energy, because actually we know what is energy, we think, and we read about it all the time and we talk about it, but actually we misunderstand and what is the concept of yin and yang. Then the purpose of woman's energy is to collect energy, to preserve, and then multiply. But we are leaking constantly. So you're going to learn how you are leaking. You're going to learn the anatomy of meridians, of the uterus. So uterus, for example, is called extraordinary organ, which doesn't have her own meridian, but she uses others, and how like all the organs affect. So it's all from Chinese medicine perspective. So working with subtle meridian organs and 5-element health management, which involves emotional management, behavioral, speech, how to become present, how to become calm and focused. And this is $20 per one session. I'm gonna record every class, and if you miss the class, you can buy it and watch it by yourself, or you can join the live class if the timing works for you as well. Very happy that you shared this space with me, and I'm looking forward for your exploration of yourself, and I'm always here. And always remember that the first teacher is, she is there. So I'm sending you hugs and love to everybody. Okay, bye.